Picture this. You're walking down the street minding your own business when suddenly you're arrested. Your crime? Wearing purple. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, buckle up because our ancestors had some truly bizarre ideas about law and order. Let's dive into 10 ancient laws that would land you in serious trouble back then, but seem absolutely insane today. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll be grateful you live in the 21st century. Number 10. The colour purple could get you killed. In ancient Rome, wearing purple was literally a death sentence if you weren't royalty. The Emperor Nero was so obsessed with this rule that he once executed a woman for wearing a purple dress to a dinner party. Purple dye came from thousands of tiny sea snails, making it incredibly expensive. The punishment was death by crucifixion, and they didn't mess around. Regular citizens caught in purple were stripped naked and executed publicly as a warning to others. Even wealthy merchants who could afford the dye wouldn't dare touch it. Number 9 will blow your mind. Dancing was banned in many medieval towns. In 1374, the city of Aachen made dancing illegal after an outbreak of dancing mania. People were literally dancing themselves to death in the streets, collapsing from exhaustion. The authorities banned all forms of dancing, even at weddings. If you were caught tapping your foot to music, you could be fined or thrown in jail. Teaching someone else to dance was considered corrupting the youth and could result in public whipping. Scientists now think this dancing plague was caused by ergot poisoning from contaminated bread. People were tripping on a mouldy grain, and the government outlawed rhythm itself. Number 8. Governments controlled what you could eat and when. In medieval England, sumptuary laws decided that only nobles could eat certain meats and spices. Common people caught eating venison faced having their hands cut off. There were specific days when everyone was forbidden from eating meat. Not religious holidays, just random days, the king decided. Breaking these food laws could result in public flogging. One baker was executed for selling white bread to peasants. Only brown bread was allowed for common folk. Authorities conducted surprise dinner raids, checking what people were eating. Number 7 is absolutely bonkers. You had to ask permission to get married, and not from your parents. In feudal Europe, serfs needed their lord's written permission to marry anyone. Lords could refuse for any reason, and often charged huge fees for marriage licenses. The penalty for marrying without permission was severe. Couples could be separated by force, their children declared illegitimate, and their property confiscated. Some lords required new wives to spend their wedding night with them first. Refusing meant the marriage was annulled and both parties branded as criminals. Number 6. Throwing waste out your window had strict rules. In medieval Edinburgh, you could only empty your chamber pot between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Do it during the day and you'd be fined heavily. You had to shout "Gardy Lou" before throwing waste into the street to warn pedestrians below. Not shouting the warning could result in paying damages to anyone who got splashed. If you hit someone important, like a merchant or clergyman, you faced public humiliation or jail time. The waste had to be thrown in designated areas. Wrong location meant banishment. Number 5 is straight up medieval thought police. You could be executed for having the wrong opinion about bread. During Henry VIII's reign, people were burned at the stake for believing that communion bread was just bread, not actually the body of Christ. The law required everyone to believe in transubstantiation. Express doubt about this miracle, and you were labelled a heretic, punishable by being burned alive in public. Simply remaining silent when asked about your beliefs was considered guilt. You had to actively affirm your faith in bread-to-flesh transformation or face execution. Number 4 shows how paranoid ancient rulers were. It was illegal to predict the death of the king. In ancient Rome, Anyone caught practicing divination about the emperor's lifespan faced immediate execution. This included reading tea leaves, interpreting dreams, or even joking about the emperor's health. But it was also illegal to not predict good things for the emperor. Fortune tellers were required to regularly prophesy good health and long life for the ruler. The Emperor Domitian executed his own court astrologer for predicting he would die within a year. Ironically, the astrologer was right. Domitian was assassinated exactly 11 months later. Number 3 will make you grateful for modern justice. Trial by ordeal was completely legal. If accused of a crime, you might be forced to stick your hand in boiling water or carry a red-hot iron bar. If your injuries healed cleanly, you were innocent. If they got infected, you were guilty and faced execution. The logic was that God would protect the innocent. But the trials were rigged. Priests would use lukewarm water for people they believed innocent, or scalding water for those they thought guilty. Refusing trial by ordeal was considered an admission of guilt, punishable by death. Number 2 is medieval madness. Animals could be put on trial and executed for crimes. In 1386, a pig in France was tried for murder, found guilty, and publicly hanged. The pig had killed a child, and the court treated it exactly like a human defendant, complete with an appointed lawyer. Records show hundreds of animal trials throughout medieval Europe. Rats were excommunicated for eating crops, roosters burned for laying eggs. Animals received full legal representation and were sometimes dressed in human clothes for their trials. The logic was that animals, like humans, could choose between good and evil. Number 1 will absolutely blow your mind. In ancient Sparta, it was illegal to be ugly. Spartans had laws requiring citizens to maintain physical beauty standards. Babies deemed too ugly were thrown off cliffs. Adults who let themselves go could lose their citizenship and be exiled. Beauty inspectors conducted surprise checks, knocking on doors to inspect physical appearance. Citizens were required to exercise daily and maintain strict diets. The Spartans believed physical beauty reflected moral character, so being ugly was considered a moral failing. Even having bad teeth could get you in trouble. There you have it. 10 ancient laws that make absolutely no sense today. Next time you think modern laws are crazy, just remember, at least you won't get executed for being ugly or having the wrong thoughts about communion wafers. If you enjoy this bizarre journey through legal history, subscribe if you like this video.